I'm a little hippie, and today we are going to talk about a book I just recently read. So, today I'm going to be talking about Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I just read it the other day. I read it in about an hour and a half, listening to it by audio on like 1 3/4 speed, I think. Because the narrator, the thing about listening to books on audio is that depending on how fast of a reader the narrator is, that's going to affect like how fast I can listen to it. Sometimes, depending on the narrator, I can listen to a book up to 3 times the speed, the normal speed. But with this narrator, I had to slow it down because they were just naturally like a fast reader. Of Mice of Men. It's basically a story about two men who are basically traveling together, wanting to kind of make enough money to buy a plot of land during the Depression or right after the Depression. Let me stop holding this so close to my mouth. It's either during the Depression or like right on the coattails of the Depression. These two men, and one of them is portrayed as a um, intellectually kind of disabled man. He's not neurotypical. Um, and he's really big though. He's really big, he's very strong, and he has this sort of affinity, this obsession with soft things, and he loves to pet them. And the story begins with Lenny, because he's the one that I remember, with Lenny like petting a mouse and wanting to have this mouse. And it's kind of endearing. And because he's had this history of like killing these animals, because he's so strong, he doesn't realize how strong he is, and he doesn't know how to bridle that because he's not intelligent at all. And though Lenny is an endearing character, he's very sweet. He's a very, very good man. He just, because of his lack of intelligence, he just doesn't know how to govern himself. And I kind of need to know their names now. Give me 1 second. Okay, yes. So it's George and Lenny, not Mike and Lenny. George being Lenny's kind of protector, caregiver, whatever you want to say. He he is kind of the mastermind behind everything that they do and every move that they make. And it's made clear to us, the readers, at the beginning of the story that Lenny has caused them a lot of grief because of the fact that he's so big, he's so strong, and he doesn't know how to bridle that, and because he doesn't have the same intelligence as an adult would. Like, a lot of the things that he has done has cost them jobs, and them being able to make money. And so they find this ranch to work on, sort of as ranch hands. And it's a big thing to George. He's like, dude, don't get into any trouble. Okay. Don't touch anything. Don't talk to anyone, because Lenny has cost them jobs before because of his lack of intelligence. Um, and it's a very short story, but it's so powerful. It packs a punch. Lenny was a character that stuck with me, and and the general theme of this story is loneliness. Each character is dealing with loneliness in this story, from the two main characters, Lenny and George. You see them being together, and you see their relationship and the dynamic of their relationship throughout the story. It's like George is annoyed with Lenny, but you can kind of tell that he wouldn't be able to live without him. um because Lenny's like, hey, if I'm causing you so much trouble, I can just go live in the mountains and eat, whatever. Be like John the Baptist and eating locusts and honey in the wilderness. And George is like, no, you're not going to do that. Because as much as he complains about Lenny, he doesn't want to be without Lenny. And you see, even down to the more minute characters, like, say, Crooks, the black man who is kind of ostracized because of the time that this novella was written in. He's black. So, things weren't the same back then as they are now. And he faced some racism and people not wanting to be around him because he's black, but also him not wanting to be around other people because he's black. And he's thinking that they don't see him as an equal. And that's his theme that that is very prevalent in this story. And it was so good and so powerful. It packed such a powerful punch. It's a story that I would read over and over and over again just because it was that good. It was very simple, but John Steinbeck, he I just love his perspective as a writer and his voice as a writer and how he writes his characters and also people of color, and also how he wasn't afraid to dive in to the societal issues that were prevalent in that time. And I think he did it in such a masterful, real way. And I don't really understand why his work would have been banned. A lot of it was banned because of racial themes, language, but it's like once you get past that language and you really indulge in the story, you see he's putting these societal issues up for us to analyze. And he's not really being biased on either side, like, let's say, with racial things. Like, yes, words, like very polarizing words, are used to describe crooks. Very polarizing words and language is used to describe Curly's wife and the things that she did, and to words that are kind of taboo that people don't want to use. But once you get past that language and you get to the heart of the story, it's really exposing those themes and condemning them, honestly. And that's what I really, really like about John Steinbeck, is you can kind of tell that he was into those social kind of issues and he understood them in such a way where he could write such a small character like Crooks, but be able to touch me, a black woman reading this, years in the present, decades in the present, decades removed from that time. I can understand these themes and I can understand what he's trying to say. And I can understand that John Steinbeck could put himself in shoes that he had no idea how to fill. Do you know what I mean? As a white man, he had no idea how to fill those shoes. And then with the Pearl, he knew how to step into the shoes of another, of someone of another ethnic background. I think it was Indian people. Um, he could put himself into those shoes and discuss those issues, and I think that that's really powerful. And so I really enjoyed Mice of Men. And I hope I was able to kind of talk about this book in a way that does it at least a little bit of justice. It's like I said, it's such a small book, but it has such powerful themes in it and such well fleshed out and written characters that it's small, but it's mighty. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good evening wherever you are. I hope you read a good book. And yeah, I'll see you when I see ya. Bye.